Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight we are dehydrating. I have a lot of people that ask me why I dehydrate, how I dehydrate, and what do I do with it once it's dehydrated. So I'm going to do a few videos up and coming on some real basic things. I am not a professional. I started doing this probably about a year and a half ago when I watched some YouTube channels and I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So I have a very simple, it's called Chefman, Chefman, Chefman dehydrator. It only has one setting, so it is not a fancy schmancy one. You can get this on Amazon. I want to say it's probably $25, $30. I've had it a year and a half. It has never failed me. I love it. It probably will continue to be my go-to one. On my Christmas list, husband, if you're listening, will probably be the next type of dehydrator where there's different settings, so that if you want to dehydrate, let's say something like grapes where there's a lot of liquid, you can set it to a certain temperature. It will dry it quicker, maybe in 4 hours, versus mine might be 8 to 10 hours because there's only one setting. So a few days ago we did a freezer clean out challenge. I'll link that video below. And I talked about I had gotten a bag of shredded cabbage like you would use for coleslaw. It was 50 cents on clearance. I couldn't use it up, so what I have done is I dehydrated it, and I had some peppers that I got really cheap. In my area, a pepper can be anywhere from $1.49 to $1.89 for one pepper, which is a lot of money. So I was able to get two peppers, a yellow and a red, very inexpensively, but I can't use them right now. But I didn't want to pass up the price. Yes, I could freeze it, but then I take up a lot of freezer space that I need right now to put meats in, because the cost of meats are going up with everything going on. So I want to leave more room in the freezer for those types of things. Yes, I'm also canning my meats, but I also want to be able to have some in the freezer as well. So with that being said, let me show you first the cabbage, and let me show you this. This is cabbage I had done, I don't know, probably early part of March, and I have stored it in a container, and you can see it. It looks green. It's pliable. Depending on what you are dehydrating, spinach is very thin, so it will dry very crispy. The cabbage is a little bit more pliable, but once you put it in your soup or your stews, you would never know the difference. So that is in a container like this. Just to show you also, this is from the Dollar Tree. It is glass, nice top, screws right on, and this is parsley that I had dehydrated, I think, last summer. So these are great. If you can get these for $1, a glass jar like this is great. I prefer glass over plastic, but this is what I have. If you have a small amount, you can even use just a sandwich bag like this that can seal. You can pop the air out of it. So you don't need to go and buy things that are fancy and all this kind of stuff. You can get a piece of masking tape like I did. I wrote the name on there, the date, that's the end of it. So you can use masking tape from the Dollar Tree. You can get jars from the Dollar Tree. You can get sandwich bags from the Dollar Tree. So here is, now this is different. Remember, this was coleslaw cabbage. So you can see it's coming out the bottom. It's very, very, very thin because it was thin coleslaw. So let me remove these trays very carefully because I don't want to waste any of the coleslaw. And some of it actually, which is fine, came down into my peppers. And if you can see the peppers, this is a pepper. Here's a red one. Here's a yellow one. And all I did was slice them very thin into strips. They are now dehydrated. And I don't know if you can hear that crunch. They just break apart, and I can then just put them again if I'm making a spaghetti sauce, if I'm making a soup, a stew, anything like that, a stir fry. I can just pop these in there if I just need a little bit of flavor. So what I'm going to do is just bag these up and put these in containers, and then we will come back and I'm going to show you how to dehydrate this big bag of kale. Okay, so what I've done is I bagged up the pepper. So you can see this is one whole red pepper and one whole yellow pepper. That's how much it dehydrated to. The other thing is I wanted to show you before I bagged this up, as I was taking the shredded cabbage, again, this was a bag of coleslaw, so you would know roughly the size of that. It smells like fresh cut cabbage, as if I just sliced up a whole cabbage right now. I couldn't believe, as I was taking it off of these trays, how strong the smell is. One question I get all the time is, how healthy is this? Is it healthy to dehydrate? The only thing you're taking out of this is the water. That's it. Once you put these back in water or broth or whatever you're using, they will plump up right back to the way they were. It smells so good. It smells like sauerkraut almost. I'm ready to eat it like this. Now, is it exactly 100% nutritious the way it would be if I took raw cabbage and ate it, or a raw pepper? No. The best on anything is to eat it raw. A raw carrot is always better than dehydrated, or if you were to bake it in the oven or broil it or anything. Anytime you cook down or you do anything to a vegetable, you lose some nutrients. But I would have to say, I would rather dehydrate this, save the money, dehydrate this or cut them up and freeze it, lose a little of the nutrients, than have to go out almost every other day and buy fresh vegetables. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money to go out and constantly be buying. And right now, it's hard to find certain things. So listen, we're stocking our pantries, we're stocking our shelves, we're stocking freezers with what we can find. In some places, food is limited. It's kind of sketchy. One day you have this, one day you have that. So this is a great way to preserve food. And I wanted to show you very quickly. 2 days ago, I had cut this at the bottom. This is the bottom of a celery stalk. I had cut this down. I put it in a bowl of water. Look at that. I have a new plant growing, so I will be putting this in my garden when it probably gets to about 4 or 5 inches. So I wanted to show you that. So very quickly, this was a bag of kale, and it is 16 ounces, and it is tripled washed. But I just decided to go ahead and rinse it a little bit. You do not have to do that. That is my choice to do that. And just, I don't know, it makes me feel better. So then what we're going to do, don't worry about spinning this off in a salad spinner if you have one, because it doesn't matter. We're dehydrating it. The water will come off. So here's how you do it. You ready? This is rocket science. Okay, dehydrating 101. You will take a tray. You will take whatever your item is that you're dehydrating, and you're going to place it on the tray. Now, kale can be a little chewy, like the cabbage. So if there's big chunks of the stem, I tend to want to take that off and just keep the leafy greens. So I'm going to just go ahead and place this all over the tray. Don't worry that they overlap. You are also looking for any pieces that maybe are browned or kind of yucky in the package. I don't care how fresh you think it is. You buy it, you know, things happen, and you don't always get perfect pieces. I don't like these pieces. Yes, they're edible. I don't know if you could hear that snap, but they become a little too chewy, and I just don't really like them. So I'm going through. There's a piece that I don't like. Put that in the sink. So we're just going to go around. I'm going to fill my trays, and I'll bring you back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm on my last tray, and I am just picking through the pieces that I like and that I don't like, and breaking off those stems. And as you can see, it's pretty puffy on the tray. And let me just put a few more pieces on here to appease myself here. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 trays. You can see it's a little springy because they're not laying perfectly flat. I will put the last tray on. They just all stack and they click into place. Now, they do recommend that you do not stack them and have them like this. I've been dehydrating for almost 2 years now. What happens is once this starts to dehydrate, this will level off, so I'm not concerned about it. 5 trays, very small. I'm going to put my lid on it like this. I'm going to plug it in. my blue light will come on. Turn it on. And let's see if you can hear that sound. Can you hear it? Very slight. That's it. It's done. It's on. I hit the button just once, and that's all I need to do. And now that that is on, we are good to go. That will go overnight, and in the morning I will bring you back and let you see what the final product looks like, and I'll give you some tips on how to use it. If you have leftovers that you're not going to use, like this, you have rabbits, pet rabbits, this is great food for them. It's great food for your chickens if you have chickens. If you're like me and you're out of chickens and out of rabbits, this will go in my compost. This is great. Do not throw this out. Put this in your compost. This is great for fertilizing other vegetables down the road. I still have this entire colander, which would probably fill 5 more trays 2 more times. So I think what I might do is put this on a cookie sheet, put it in my oven overnight on low. I leave the door open, and you can just stick a butter knife in the door just so there's a little air circulation. You put the oven on as low as it can go, and you let it run all night. It will do the same thing as your dehydrator. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do that, and then tomorrow I will show you what the dehydrated kale looks like in the dehydrator, and also what it looks like on a cookie sheet. Okay, so have a good night, and I'll catch you in the morning and let you see. Okay, so it is the next day. We've been dehydrating, and I wanted to show you the finished product. So here it is in the dehydrator. You can see, remember how full that was? That was quite full, and I said don't worry because this was kind of springy, that it would shrink down. Look at that. This is here. That would have been a huge leaf of this. So this kale came out really nice. You can see tray after tray, but it dehydrates oh so nice. Now look at it over here. Okay, this is, I also did it in the oven. It did get a little bit browner on some of it than it did in the dehydrator. But listen, if this is all you can do is do it in the oven, it is perfectly fine. You can hear the crunch, and yeah, so this is good. So just to kind of wrap this up, let me show you. I'm going to be storing it in just one of these deli containers. These are cheap on Amazon. You can buy a big amount of them. I forget how much they run for, maybe $8 for I don't know how many, but you can check it out. But I'm going to be storing this in these containers. This one is just a tad wet. I had just washed these earlier, so I'm going to let this dry out really, really well because you want absolutely no moisture in this. But if you want to know what to do with this, soup, dump it in there. It's perfect. Another thing, my kids never liked their greens. But you know us moms, we have to make sure family's getting vitamins. So if you were to take this, let me get one here and I'll show you real quick. Okay, so here's some of this, right? And if you were to show them that, they'd go, ew. Okay, so we'll do it over here. We're gonna, look at this. I've crunched this up. Okay, this is kale. Does it look like parsley? Sprinkle this in your tomato sauce. Put this in your meatloaf. Add this to your meatballs. Any kind of, even if you do a, like a beefaroni or a hamburger helper style thing, sprinkle this in. Nobody would ever be any the wiser. So I'm not going to tell anybody if you don't tell them that this is what I do with spinach, with kale, any kind of greens. You can just sprinkle that right in there, make it look like parsley. They'll never know the difference. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Real simple how to dehydrate kale, greens. You can do this with spinach, anything else like that. I showed you the cabbage earlier, so that's another option. The same thing with the cabbage. You could really crumble that up if you wanted to. So, hope you enjoy this. Leave me a comment below if you dehydrate. What do you dehydrate? What has been your successes and your maybe not so much of a success? I don't want to say a failure, because whenever we try, it's never a failure. It's just a lesson learned. So leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll catch you on the next video.